Well, look, Botan, I think Niner fans are getting really excited on the idea of Zach Wilson because for the same reason you went and watched his highlights. I think people know like there's got to be something else next year. And I think you give some sobering analysis to people who just want anyone to step up. So what would you do? How would you, if you were John Lynch, what would your plan be this offseason to move forward at this position? What do you do?
Well, right now, as I see the 49ers, we are in a win now situation. We have a lot of contracts that are going to expire this year. And with the salary cap problems that each team is going to have next year, it's about 20% of decrease. Sorry, it's the dog behind me. The scary sound was the dog. I'm sorry. So in that situation, I would have a lot of problems. But first of all, what I would do is I think there's two routes. First of all, you can start with a new QB from the college, but we covered that question, and I don't mind that right now we are in a position on draft when we can just easily draft a quarterback. But there are some ways, maybe if we can trade Jimmy Garoppolo, although I know that most of the 49ers fans will hate me for this sentence. But
I disagree. I think a lot of Niner fans are open to the idea of trading Jimmy now. I think Niner fans have their eyes open. You were ahead of the curve.
Last time when I was negative on Twitter against Jimmy Garoppolo, most of the people wanted to kill me. So
there's a very dedicated group of Jimmy Garoppolo fans on Twitter, but it's like a vocal minority. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm not worrying about it. It's kind of funny. It was kind of funny. I don't mind that they would travel 30,000 miles to Hungary to kill me. So,
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I would trade Jimmy Garoppolo, and I would try to trade myself up on the draft, and I would try to select from the best picks if I would start a new campaign with a pretty new QB from the draft. On the other hand, there are some QBs who are, I think, good ideas for this team for a short term. I would give a try to Sam Darnold, for example, because I'm pretty sure that the Jazz will take parts with him in the postseason, and I don't mind that he needs a lot of money. And after all, I think that he wasn't successful mainly because of the organization where he was at. But I think he has a huge potential. He can make throws that nobody else did in the past few weeks in the NFL, I think. We were joking around. We said that Sam Darnold doesn't do much, but all he does is just make one through every single week, which is amazing, and then the Jazz lose.
This is a really interesting topic. We didn't have this written down. I want to stick with this. Should the Niners trade for Sam Darnold? You brought it up. You're pro Darnold. Let me throw out an alternative and let's argue it out. Okay? Let's argue it out. What about Daniel Jones?
This year when I started,
they're kind of opposites.
Yeah. This year when I started analyzing NFL, the first match what I saw was the Giants game, and last year I wasn't impressed with Daniel Jones. Right now, I'm not impressed with Daniel Jones. I have to say that. But we all knew that who is the offense coordinator right now in the New York Giants, who is Jason Garrett.
Yeah,
I think that that Daniel Jones also deserves another chance with an organization, with a QB coach, with a head coach, with an offensive coordinator who can bring out his best. And I think that if we can get him for a reasonable price, then he's also an option for this team right now.
Let's compare them because they're in the same state. They're very interesting, and I think they're opposites. To me, most people prefer Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold was a media darling in college. All the media gurus who are not really draft gurus said he's the next Andrew Luck. He should be the number one pick. And once a guy has the seal of approval from the media, he keeps it. So when he struggles on the Jets, it's the coach's fault.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Daniel Jones had the opposite. No one had heard of Daniel Jones. The NFL liked him. The media didn't. So when he got drafted top 10, the media's like, you're wrong. We're better at analyzing quarterbacks than you. So every time he screws up, it's his fault, not Jason Garrett's. They're both struggling. What I see from Sam Darnold is ever since USC, he's an ad-lib quarterback. He's an improv quarterback. He can do stuff that Patrick Mahomes can do. We saw it against the Niners. When a play breaks down, he can scramble to his left, throw the ball against his momentum, down the field, make really amazing athletic improv plays. I don't think he's that good at sticking to the script. I think a lot of times he just gives up on what Adam Gase calls and goes and just wings it. And I think Shanahan would hate a quarterback like that. I really think Shanahan appreciates a mobile quarterback, but he wants you to at least give his play a shot. And what I watched from Sam Darnold is a guy who wants to get to the improv part of the play. Daniel Jones, I would compare much more to like a young Alex Smith, who was a losing player, right? Like Alex Smith is almost robotic in the sense that he's going to follow directions. And he'll be as good as his scheme and his system. And early in his career, he stunk. He couldn't elevate Mike Nolan or Mike Singletary. But as soon as he got with a competent coach, he took off. And from 2011 to when he broke his leg, he won like 70% of his starts. And I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Jones had that kind of maturation as well. Like, he's on a terrible team. Jason Garrett stinks. And he's trying his best to stick to the script, but it's a terrible script. You put him on the Niners with Kyle Shanahan, I think he would look a lot like what Jimmy looked like before the ACL injury.
Yeah. Well, I think right now, if I'm thinking deeper of it, I would say that if we are sticking with the first topic that we had with the mobile QBs, I would try to stick with Daniel Jones in this situation, because we've seen that from the Giants that they are doing some designated runs with Daniel Jones. And he has a pretty decent speed. He's, I think, the more athletic from them. All he needs is a better coach who will tell him how to do it better.
It's possible that neither Darnold or Daniel Jones are really good enough to win a Super Bowl, though. I mean, it's possible that if you go from Jimmy Garoppolo to one of those two, it's not necessarily an upgrade or a big enough upgrade to make a difference. So let's stick with the rookies. If you trade Jimmy Garoppolo for a first, now you got 2 firsts, theoretically. You could trade up. I don't know how high you could trade up, but have you seen enough of Justin Fields to have an opinion on whether he's worth moving up for? Because you're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. You're not.
Yeah, but well, I think that you don't know, because we cannot just imagine that, because we have seen a lot of interesting things from the Jets in the past few years. I think they are not the Houston Texans with those extraterrestrial trades that they made by giving up from DeAndre Hopkins for a second rounder. But I think that everything is a possibility right now. And of course, we are not knowing that what will happen next. Half of the season left from the college season as well. I think there is a possibility that the 49ers can move upwards in the draft table, and after that, if you have that 2 first rounders, there's a possibility that you can move into the first pick of the NFL draft.
Sure.
Of course, you can give up some other picks from the next year, first rounder as well. It's then 3 first rounders, and I think that no one would say no for 3 first rounders, and you still didn't solve the future of the franchise.